Hi. I just want to start by saying this video is really hard for me to make. I put on makeup to make myself look even a little bit presentable, but I just want to say that this is not easy. I have a lot of anxiety and I'm scared and I don't really want to talk about anything, but this is something that I need to do. I need to open up to you guys and talk about the things that have been going on and the things that are happening, I guess. I'm very scared for myself, my mental health, and my future. I'm not really sure what to do, so I'm reaching out to you. I've never been one to ask for help. I have always done things on my own since the beginning of my teenage years. Basically, I turned down any hand reaching out to me and I would just be independent and do everything by myself. But as of last year, things started to get really bad with my mental health, and I already made a video about this, but basically, to put it short and sweet, I was scared for myself, so I turned to my boyfriend and I was like, I know we had plans to meet up in the future, but I need to do this now. We were supposed to meet up in America or Canada at some point because he lives in Mexico, and it was supposed to be years down the line, and we were both supposed to prepare for it, but things were getting so bad for me that I just had to pack my stuff and drop everything in Ohio and move here to Mexico. I have a lot of videos that I made moving to Mexico, and like, people don't believe me that I moved here because I've been slacking on editing those videos. There's a reason for that, actually. The reason why I haven't edited or uploaded those videos is because I've just been so depressed and I have not been able to bring myself to really edit much. In fact, I made videos with Alice, and that was literally 2 months ago, and I still haven't edited or uploaded them, so by now they're completely irrelevant, but yeah. So basically, ever since I came out here, things have been getting worse, but they've also been getting a little better, I guess. I'm not happy by any means. I'm just content. I love my boyfriend and I love how he treats me. He's really good to me. And I love the little life that we've built here, but unfortunately, I already made a video about this. I'm not going to go into much detail about it, but I don't really have much of a life out here, so I can't be happy. There's no way for me to have any sort of independence or life out here. So I'm basically suffocating and I'm drowning under my own water. This is something that I walked into and it didn't go very well. It didn't work out the way that I had planned, and there was no way that I could anticipate all of the things that have come up. I thought that I could have at least a semblance of life here, but there's nothing. It's like I was a dying plant and you put the plant in a new pot, but there's no water and there's no sun, so it cannot grow. I don't know how long my camera is going to last. For some reason, it's not showing me the battery life, so it might die soon. I'm going to try to rush this as much as possible, but at the same time, I want to take my time and explain everything to the full depth that I need to explain things, because I don't want people to think that I'm making shit up or that I'm just asking for handouts or anything. I want to tell you what's going on. I want to tell you the story. I want you guys to understand and feel what I feel through this fucking screen. So there's really not much that I can say about my life here without repeating myself. So I'm just gonna move forward and explain my current dilemma. I have completely lost everything about myself. I don't feel like my own person anymore. So I was, for the past 3 or 4 months, I was looking for a way back to America. And I found a few friends who were offering me a place to stay and stuff, but the biggest issue for me is that I need to go back to Ohio in particular, because I still have health insurance in Ohio, so at least until I'm 26, I can go back to Ohio and seek the help that I need for my physical and my mental issues. I thought that I could come here and get help, get therapy, maybe see a doctor and stuff, but we don't have any health insurance, and there's no way to get it without spending a bunch of money that we don't have. And there's no way that I can get a job here, so basically I had to turn down the offers that my friends have given me. There was like Oklahoma, Massachusetts, Virginia, New York, like there were all these other states, but I have to go back to Ohio. No matter how damaging that place is to me, a lot of trauma has happened to me there. I have flashbacks even just seeing Welcome to Ohio. Like, that state is just, it feels like a black hole to me, and it's so heavy just being there. But I have no other choice. Yeah, so I reached out to my sister because she's the only one that I could live with. I love my sister, but she has hurt me several times in many, many ways, and she's not very good for my mental health. She can be a toxic person, just as I can be. I can be a toxic and abusive person as well, especially since my mental health is getting worse. She's getting help or therapy for her mental health, but she's spiraling in her own way, and the way that she's treated me in the past has just been very damaging. I don't want to explain the story that happened of the last time that I was around her, just because I'm over it. I've crossed that bridge, but it was bad enough that I considered cutting ties with her completely for the rest of my life, and I was okay with that. I was completely heartless toward her, and like I just didn't care anymore because she hurt me that bad. She has 2 kids, my niece and nephew, and I love them more than anything on this planet, but I had to accept in that time that I had to let them go because she was not good for me, and I couldn't handle being around her. So anyway, since she's so not very good for me, I was thinking that this is probably not the best choice. If I'm gonna go back to Ohio, I need somewhere else to stay, someone else to stay with. But I've looked at other family members, my mom, my brother, but just nothing seems viable. I'll basically be sleeping on the couch in the living room, and my cats won't have anywhere to go, and my cats are my biggest concern right now. I'm obviously putting myself and my mental health first, but I'm also trying my best to make my cats comfortable because they are also traumatized from living a bad life. I'm just trying to weigh out everything, and people are saying that I'm being too picky for my situation, but I kind of have to be. I need to be very careful with the choices that I make because I wasn't very picky about this choice, and look where it got me. I'm stuck in another country, and I have no money or no way to get out. So I've reached out to my followers for help. I was really scared to make the crowdfunding page, but I did it. I made a GoFundMe. I'm still not 100% sure where I'm gonna go, but I know that my sister is an option. The situation with her is kind of shaky, and I'm not sure if that's gonna work out. She's got her own things going on. She's got her own financial problems, so I'm not sure at all how that's gonna go, but I just know that I need the money goal by March, April. So basically I put on my Instagram all the stories of the money that I need, what it's going toward, and I'll put those screenshots in this video. But basically I have $1,600 left over after all of the expenses, and that may be just enough for a deposit on an apartment, first and last month's rent and maybe some utilities. I am putting my cat's well-being alongside mine. I'm trying not to abandon them, leave them behind, because they do not do well without me. I was gone for 3 weeks when I was with Alice in New Zealand, and I came back and Emma was basically skeletal. She was not eating very much, and Maya was just kind of, she was okay, but she was acting a little weird. She was eating weird things, like things that aren't even food, so there's no way that I can just leave them here with Kaz. So I have to take them back with me, and I need them to be somewhat comfortable. Introducing them to new animals is not an option, so the people that I was able to stay with, not only are they in a different state than I need, but they also have animals, and I cannot introduce my cats to new animals. At least not right now. They're going through so much. I have brought them here to Mexico. They had to live a whole new life with heat. It's just very overwhelming for an animal to have to go through the plane ride and all of that. So they finally settled down, they finally adjusted, and I have to pick them up and take them back and go through all of that over again. I'm trying to make this situation as less stressful for them and for myself as possible. So yeah, basically I am asking for help. I cannot make my own money. I can't get a job out here. I don't know the language, and it's very hard to learn a language when you have really bad memory and you have really bad mental health that's just constantly deteriorating very, very fast. I don't get out of the house. I have nowhere to go. And even if I do have somewhere to go, my mind starts doing all of these things to me about why I can't go. I could go on, and I'd probably run my battery out explaining why I can't leave the house. So I'm basically locked up inside all the time, and I've been basically inside constantly for an entire year. And I may look well put together right now, but I, there for a little while, was basically beating my face into the wall every day, screaming, crying, throwing myself all over the floor. I've been passing out a lot because I have just run myself out of breath, and the stress that I've put myself under from the fucking mental breakdowns that I have, I've been hurting myself a lot, and just I have gone insane, and I have lost my mind, and I don't know who I am anymore. I've become emotionally abusive to my boyfriend, which I swore up and down that I would never become that kind of person. But since I was around emotional abuse basically my whole life, I guess I took after them, and this horrible state that I'm in, mentally and physically, I have become what I swore to kill. I want to cry. I don't like admitting that, and I feel like a monster. So I want to go back to Ohio and get myself a job and get myself some mental and physical help. Physically, my body is shutting down in so many ways, and there's nothing I can do about it here. I need so many different exams and so many different tests done. I had a doctor for an entire year try to look into all the things that's wrong with my fucking rib and my breathing issues, and she couldn't figure it out. Test after test, like, God, I can't imagine how much money that would cost if I didn't have health insurance. So yeah, and there's not just the physical problems, but the mental issues. That's gonna cost a lot of money and a lot of therapy trips to get it somewhat figured out. I need help, and I don't want to ask for help. I thought maybe I could do this on my own, but without having a job and a way to make my own money, I'm stuck. And I've looked into, believe me, I have looked into so many different things that I could do to make money. I looked into like Depop, selling art, selling digital art and all that stuff, but how am I supposed to create when I'm so depressed, when I'm so uninspired and so unmotivated? I can barely get up to brush my teeth and take a shower and brush my hair. I can barely be a fucking functioning human being. How am I supposed to create something when I'm so fucking sad? And I just, honestly, I I don't want to be here anymore. And everything is so hard to do when you don't want to be alive anymore. So, I need help. And I am embarrassing myself by doing this, and I am ashamed of myself, and I feel like I'm losing all the dignity that I have left. But I am running out of options, and I don't know what to do. I've raised half of the money that I need to get back to Ohio. I don't know how to thank everybody that has helped me, so thank you so much. I don't know any other way to thank you. Just, you have my eternal gratitude. If you want to know how you can support me, you can send me messages on Instagram. I always read them. I don't always respond because I don't really have the energy, honestly, but I do always read my Instagram messages. It's at Painting Parades. You can share my GoFundMe link. I have PayPal. If you can't donate to GoFundMe, I have a PayPal. It's all in my description box. I have Patreon, where I can actually do something for the money that you give me. I don't remember the tiers, but there's a few somewhat interesting ones, I guess. So if you're interested in that, there's my link in the description box as well. I think that's about it. Hopefully I can pay you guys back in any way possible when I'm back on my feet and I've got some sort of mental stability back. I do want to bring my Depop back up and make clothes and sell them. I want to make art and sell that. I want to make digital art. I want to make t-shirt designs and tattoo designs. There's so many things that I want to do, but I just cannot do it here. I am so empty that all of that sounds like you're reaching for something that's so impossible. And I mean, hell, even making a video or editing a video is so hard. I'm shaking so much right now trying to make this video. I'm so anxious and just overall destroyed over the fact that I don't even know if I'm saying the right things or if I'm gonna get backlash, or I don't know. I'm being as honest as I can, and I'm trying to be 100% open, but I'm also nervous of this video getting taken down if I'm too open, because YouTube has been getting a lot more strict. So yeah, if you guys have any questions at all, I will respond to all the questions that I get in the comments of this video. So if you are wondering something, just scroll down in the comments, and if the question wasn't already answered, you can ask it yourself and I will reply. I will keep an eye on Instagram and YouTube and all of my socials and try my best to keep in touch with you guys. Now, this is basically the end of my explanation, so now I'm just going to show screenshots of the explanation that I put on my Instagram story, just to make it extra clear to you guys the things that I need for this to happen. So at the end of this video, there will be screenshots from the Instagram stories that I posted the other day, if you're interested in looking at those. Also, I'm going to be answering some questions that some people have asked me on my Instagram, just to make things a little bit more clear, if I didn't answer those questions already in this video. How does your boyfriend feel about this entire situation and about you leaving Mexico? He obviously doesn't want me to leave, and he's scared of what's going to happen to me or what's going to happen to him, because it is a risk. But he also understands that this is something that I need to do, and he understands that this is what's best for both of us. Which, actually, there's something I forgot to mention. I'm not only destroying my mental and physical health by being here, but I'm also destroying his. As I did say, I've become emotionally abusive in some ways. Not all the time, but there are times when I'm just a complete monster and I'm ruining him, and my mental health has gotten to the point where he had to quit his job. There were 2 reasons why he had to quit his job. He needed to get surgery for his hernia. It was a dangerous hernia, so he had to get surgery to get it removed immediately. So he also had liver problems and colitis. So he was basically on bed rest for like an entire month, and his job was like, you know, what the hell's going on? But at the same time, my mental health was getting so bad that I was having extreme and violent mental breakdowns on the daily, and I was being left alone for 12 hours a day, and then he would get home and spend maybe 3 hours with me before he went back to sleep and did it all over again. So I was completely left by myself 24/7, and there was no going outside, there was no escaping my mind, so things got really, really bad. And I told him, you know, you're all I have, so I don't know what we're supposed to do. And his job was already in jeopardy from the surgery, so he just quit his job so he could stay home with me. But now we're in serious financial problems, so he's desperate to look for a job. I've got enough money in savings, not from the savings that was donated to me, but I've got enough money in savings to help us pay rent and pay the bills for another month. But after that, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. So he's got to get a job, and I'm gonna be left alone again, and I'm very scared. He's also very scared of what's gonna happen to me when he goes back to work. I have gotten a lot of hate for losing the job that I had, but it was all because of my anxiety and my horrible mental health that I wasn't able to do it. But I tried really hard for that job. I really wanted it. I've gotten a lot of backlash at him losing his job and it being my fault. Like, I've heard it all. I've heard all the hate that could be thrown at me. So if you have any hateful responses that you want to throw my way, go for it. But I've heard it before, and it's not gonna do anything but make me feel worse. So if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I'm ruining him in so many ways, financially and mentally, that it's just best if I leave. It's best for both of us if I leave, so that he can work and save money and get his things together. And I don't want to risk his mental health, and I don't want to risk mine anymore. So it's just something that needs to be done. Why exactly can't you get a job? Is it illegal communicating mental health? Technically, it is illegal for me to get a job right now because I don't have papers, but if the job was willing to give me papers, then it wouldn't be illegal. The only problem is that I am not very fluent in Spanish. I've gotten a lot better with it, but I can't speak fluently yet, and I can understand a lot of things, but I can't really speak in it. And like I said, it's very hard to learn a language when you've got so much going on. Most of it's my mental health and the language barrier. I was looking into like under the table cooking or something, but even with cooking, it's very high demand here in Mexico, and it's very fast paced and there's a lot happening, so you have to be able to understand and speak back fluently. So I've looked into several different jobs that I could get here, and none of them are really possible for me right now. I have to be completely fluent in the language in order to get a job. Unless it's sales, which I've come to the conclusion that sales just makes my mental health worse. So yeah, there's no point in getting a job that will make my mental health worse. Somebody asked what's going to happen with the relationship if I leave. Well, we did long distance before, so we're pretty confident that we can do it again. Obviously this time it'll be harder since we've been together and now we have to be apart again, but if you really want something, you'll make it work. Did you make any changes to your plan? Are you thinking of doing so? The plan isn't 100% set in stone. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna go or when, so I'm not really sure what's gonna happen, but I need to have the money. That way, if something does come up, I'm like, okay, I can throw the money down on the plane tickets, I can throw the money down on my cat's travel, and then I'll have money left over for an apartment or a place to stay. What's the problem with the transport of your cats back to Ohio? So, I already said this like 1,000 times, and I put it in the screenshots of the Instagram stories that I will put at the end of the video, but I guess I'll just explain it now. Basically, there's only one cat that can travel with you at a time, unless you have another person with you, which Kaz can't come with me because he doesn't have an American visa. He applied for one last year before I traveled out here, and they denied him. He basically spent $3,000 to apply for the visa just to get denied, so basically they stole his money from him. They have very high requirements, and there's really no way to know whether or not they'll accept or decline you, so he really can't try again for a visa, but he can't even leave anyway because he's still in college, and he has to finish college before he can go. So I have no one to travel back with me, so I have to take one cat on my own. You can bring 2 in a carrier as long as they're 8 months or younger, and they have to be the same breed. I've looked into so many different airlines. I've looked into, believe me, I've done so much fucking research on this shit because I didn't want to have to spend $400 or $450 on a single plane flight, plus the $150 it costs for my pet, plus my baggage, and then fly back, and then spend another $300 plus the $150 for my cat again, just to fly back. Like, it's so much time and so much money and so much stress. I didn't want to have to do that, so believe me, I did all the research, and there's no way around it. I could look into pet travel, but again, that would require my cats going into transit for 24 to 48 hours, depending on how fast or slow the service is. It's probably going to be just as expensive, and there's no way for me to pick up my pet in Ohio because it is too far away and I have no ride. My cats are traumatized already by everything that they've gone through when they were babies, and I'm just trying my best to make them as comfortable as possible so that they don't have to go through that again. Because each time that they go through a stressful or traumatic experience, they lose more and more of who they are, and I don't want to put them through that. So also there was someone that said you could register your cats to be, I don't remember what happened with that, but I did look into it, and there was no way that I could qualify for it. I would need all these certificates, I would need to see doctors, and again, it would just cost a lot more money that I just don't have. So basically the only option that I have left is to travel back and forth to get my cats. So instead of the plane flight costing $600, what it would be if I had 2 cats and just took one plane flight, it's going to cost about $1,400 plus baggage. Well, with baggage. People keep saying that I'm being picky about my cats as well. People keep saying I'm being picky about everything, and sure, maybe I am, but I cannot live a life without my cats. They are my mental health companions, and I cannot function without them. When everything else goes wrong, when I lose everything, when nothing else makes sense, they are the ones that help get me through the day and everything. Like, I just look at their faces and I feel okay. Are you breaking up with your boyfriend when you're moving back? No, we're gonna stay together, or try to anyway. How are you coping right now at the moment? Things are really fucking hard, and I'm not sure how I'm going to cope with this, all of this. I basically did this once, and I have to do it again. I left my entire life to come out here. I gave up everything, my job, my comfortable job, mind you, my comfortable apartment, my comfortable life, despite the abuse and everything that I was going through. Everything else was pretty comfortable. I left it all to come here, and now I have to give up my life again. I've made a family here, I've made a home here, and you know, despite all of the things that's going wrong here, there are good things. Like, I have gotten really close with his family members and I love them. I'm really sad to leave them, but I have to do what's best for me. Life is hard, and it's never gonna get easier. How did I manage to get makeup all over me? I do makeup once, and somehow it ended up all over my legs. Are you going to keep both of your cats living with you while you're with your sister? I plan on it. Again, I'm not even 100% sure if I'm gonna live with my sister, but wherever I go, they're gonna come with me. What do you plan on doing after you move in with your sister? I plan on getting my life back. I want to get a job, and I want to do all the things that make me feel myself. You know, all the things that I was doing last year. I was creating things, I was making videos, I was doing the Depop thing, I started an Etsy, I sold stuff, and it made me happy to create things and give it to other people and have it hanging up in their homes or have them wearing my clothes. Like, I don't know, it just felt amazing. So I'd like to get back into that. What will be your motivation to get well when back in the States? Well, I see how much I'm hurting myself and everyone else. I mean, I have scars all over my body, and like, there's barely any spots on my body where I don't have scars anymore. And my body is physically and mentally shutting down, and I've hurt other people with my mental illnesses as well. And I'm just sick of being mentally sick, and I want help. I really do. And even last year and the year before that, I still wanted help. I was seeing doctors, I was seeing therapists, but they just weren't really doing their jobs. I was paying them for like a year and we made no progress. That's frustrating, but I just gotta keep trying until I find the right team. Is there any way that people can help you other than financially? Of course, emotionally, always. Like, you know, going through all of this, I don't just need financial support. It's nice and it helps everything, really. Like, I can't move if I don't have the money for it, but I really need emotional support right now also, because I've been getting a bunch of hate for the things that have been happening, and it's really nice to open my DMs and see so many people sending me all these well thought out and really long messages talking about how they support me and that they understand my situation and that they wish they could be there for me and blah blah blah. I don't really know how to explain just how much it does for me, but it really does help. You know, when I'm going through such a hard time and I feel like blowing my head off, honestly, nothing makes sense anymore, I open up my messages and there's still so many people there who love and support me and will spend like 30 minutes typing out these messages for me just to help me feel better. So yeah, there is that. You can do that. Just, if I need any love and support at all, right now is when I most need it, because this is probably one of the most hardest things I've had to go through. Last year during this time, I was getting ready to come to Cancun, and that was the hardest thing that I ever had to do, but it's just as hard. Why didn't you learn Spanish before going to Mexico? I tried, but I had a full-time job. I was spending so much time trying to make money. I decided within like 8 months that I was gonna move to Mexico. So within that 8 months, I was spending so much time working, trying to earn money to leave, because this wasn't a well thought out plan. It wasn't very planned out. It was out of desperation because I was scared for my mental health. So I just did it as fast as possible, and I was so busy all the time. And on top of all of that, I had so much mental health issues, and it was all just weighing down on me. I was depressed most of the time, or I was depressive manic, or I was hypermanic, and yeah, there was just so much happening that I couldn't really learn a language, and I still can't learn a language. I know some, but not enough. What is currently your biggest struggle right now? My biggest struggle right now is feeling hopeless, feeling like I'll never be happy, feeling like I'll never get anything solved, and that there's always going to be problems. Even if I do get out of here and live with my sister, then I'm going to be running into a new set of problems living with her, and I have to try my best to avoid her tearing me down, I guess, because most days are good with her until something goes really, really, really bad, and then shit hits the fan and I start spiraling. So I have to try to keep my head on. Also, my biggest struggle right now is food, having a lot of problems with that and my body. But what's new? That's always going to be there. That's never going to change. What about living alone instead of killing your sanity, aka living with your sister? That's something I did not mention. I can't live alone because it would cost way too much money, and a lot of apartments require credit checks, i.e. you have to have a job for 6 months, you have to have X amount of money, you have to be able to show that you are supporting yourself financially, and yeah. So I have a good history with apartments, but my credit score is awful. So I do have a co-signer, my mom, but I don't have a job. Anyway, my battery's dying, so I have to go. I hope I explained everything to the depth that I can. Anything that I didn't cover, I will put in screenshots or type it at the end of the video. Again, if you have any questions, just post them in the comments below. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for all the love and support that you guys have given me. I'm gonna go now and try my best to build up the mental energy that I didn't use on this video to edit this and upload this before it's too late.